Okay, gonna do a little survey of our drainage around the neighborhood again. It's now Monday, August 28th, 5 p.m. So what is this? Fourth day of Hurricane Harvey. And we're up to 7 inches of rain today, on top of the 21 inches we got through yesterday. So we're at 28 inches right now. And this is one of the drainage ponds, the one right behind our house, or in the middle of our subdivision, I should say. And so you can see these trees, how they're usually halfway down the bank, and now they're, you can see them coming up out of the water. So I think this thing is like 5 or 6 feet higher than normal. And you can see the good news is there's quite a few feet more, 2-3 feet more before we'd ever get to houses. But it's been coming up all day today. It had gotten this deep on Sunday morning, and then it drained down when it didn't rain most of Sunday, and now it's back up. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once, but that over there, if you see those rocks with the birds on them, there's usually a 4 or 5 foot, I don't know what it is, waterfall between the upper little pond and this lower pond, and you can see the waterfall is gone. You can just see the very top edges of the rocks, but it's usually like this 4-foot rock wall that the water goes down. So, something else. Alright, we're going to go check out the other drainage around the subdivision. What we're going to do, see what's going on. And of course the first thing is, right in front of us, you can see this is our own neighborhood streets, and fortunately it's not, I always watch my rocker panels, and as long as it's below my rocker panels I'm okay. And I can see the street through it, and I know by the curves here that this is only 4 or 5 inches deep. So we're fine. Just to double check, when I get to the deep parts, if I think it's getting deep. Oh wow, there's what I hadn't seen. This guy actually boarded up the house. I haven't seen anybody that did that here. I can look down here and see, you can see it's way below the rockers. So we're fine. We're just going to go check out some of the big drainage canals and ditches around here. I did this yesterday morning, and we think right now it's right about the same level that it was at on Sunday morning, which is the highest point so far. Or the deepest point, whatever. So again, we've had 7 inches today. We had 21 inches to midnight last night, so we're at 28 inches right now, and it's still raining. Sounds like it's going to keep raining all night, although, oh wow, okay, so that's just funny, but let me see if I can do this. The ducks have congregated in the street here. They don't need the lake anymore, but there's the ducks just hanging out in the street. All right, well, you know, that's pretty funny right there. So we're at 28 inches. Pretty amazing. The drainage around here, we've been real happy with it. It's been really good. But this is a kind of a test that it's never had before. This is just nuts, because we had actually a decent amount of rain leading up to the storm coming in. So things were, I mean, nothing was flooded, but things were relatively full. And then you dump 28 inches on top of that. It's a heck of a test. This is the lake from the other view, and I mean, literally, I've just never seen it like this. That's our pool over there. You can see how close I've been looking toward at those bushes, how close it's coming to those bushes. You can see it's just deep. That's all. So we're going around here. Looks like the little kiddie pool cover got a little cattywampus there. We really didn't get much big wind. A little bit of water in the street here. Most in our neighborhood, I still haven't seen water over about 6 inches deep in the roads. So if we stay down the middle, we're always good. This over here kind of was something to me, how far up the side it's come. I mean, there's literally, like, that bank goes down 6 or 8 feet to the water normally. There's a rock border around the pond, and normally the water's way down there below it. Not so much anymore. All right, let's go look at the big. This is that pond is you know, the middle of the subdivision with the houses all around it. The one around the outside is the really big drainage. And we'll go check it out now. And when I looked at it about 2 hours ago, it was out of its banks, which really surprised me because I'd never seen it out of its banks. So we're going to go take a look. And so the radar's been really messing with us. Yeah, let me get this right here and then I'll talk about the radar. So right here, this is what really surprised me earlier today. Right there, the water is outside the actual channel now. It's not just high up on it. You can see it all up here on the grass. It's come all the way outside the channel. And that honestly is something I had never seen before. So that kind of concerned me a little bit, but that's what it is. And so you can see there's still, you know, quite a bit of distance to anybody's houses, but that channel right there from the first videos I did, there was like a 2 foot wide little bitty kind of stream of water down there when this whole thing started on Friday. And so that water is probably at least 8, if not 12 feet deep. I don't know. I should look on the city drainage map, see if I can figure that out. I think that's, you know, like I say, 10 to 12 feet deep. All right, and here's the other side. Let's get the window here. There's just so much water, and it's over those banks now. Part we don't want to see, especially over on this side here. Come over here, and it's all the way up in those bushes. The regular banks are. By zooming here, the water is coming up out of the storm drain from wherever it's flowing down from, and that's the problem we're starting to get now. Everything in the whole Houston area is so saturated that as the water is flowing down, it's coming up in other drainage areas, and that's what's happening right there. It's literally coming up out of that storm drain and dumping. All right, let's go to the big pond, the big lake. It doesn't look the swirl. It looks like, oh, it's all dry to the south. So even though it looks like we're about to get, you know, drier air coming up and the rain will stop, it doesn't. It's just regenerating literally in place, and not from the Gulf. It's literally regenerating literally right over us. So it just keeps coming. So this is the big, I think this is a 33-acre lake, which is the big retention for Southwyck. And if we can see it, it's barely raining. I'm going to get out to look at it. So all the way across there, we've been using this as our benchmark, is the pavilion, and there's usually 4 steps down, and then a step down to the sidewalk, and then a sidewalk, and then grass, and then water. And you can see, look at the ramp right there. The water is all the way up to like the 2nd or 3rd step now, so it is seriously, this whole huge 33-acre lake has seriously come up from where it was normally. And of course you can even see it right here because the water is so far up these banks right here. Normally the water is way down the grass there. I'll show you over here. Around here. That house, that pink house has been one we've been watching. You can see the water going up their side yard there. And we've been, look at those steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 steps exposed. I think there's 10 or 11 total steps. So that tells you how many are below the water now. And you can see those, that black wrought iron fence right there. That kind of tells you that fence ends right at the rock edging around the lake. So that's where the water line normally is, and the water's usually a foot below the edge of the rock. So I don't know what that is, 2 or 3 feet higher than normal? I don't know. But you can see how far further out the water is than it normally would have been. All right. A little bit of water on that street, but not much. 3-4 inches on the edges, that's about it. Guy out getting his bike ride in. Man, I would hate that. Have a house under construction right now in the middle of this mess. Ugh. The boats over here. Oh, yeah, there's water. A little bit of water on the road right here. Not bad. That street's got a bit, but you can see it only goes for a little bit. So, you know, the intersections tend to fill up, but overall the drainage around here has been really good. And I don't know of any house. Look at this. We got a boat here, and we got jet skis. And it looks like they're getting ready in case somebody needs help, which is really awesome. Now here's the back side of that drainage ditch that I was showing you that's overflowed its banks that's around. This is the one that goes all the way around our subdivision. That bridge way up there off in the distance is the one I was on. Now I'm coming around here. We're looking at the back side of it. You can see how full it is. And this is where it turns the corner and goes, we're looking at the west leg of it, and then that right there goes down across the south end of our subdivision, and it is just completely full up and all the way coming up here out of its banks up toward the street. This is the end of the big lake right here. So we're looking down into it. And again, sorry for all the, here, let me clean the lens. I don't know if that helped, but you can see there's another one of those. Nah, you can't. There, if you can see it, I can't focus. Here, I go to manual focus. I get this. Okay, here it comes. You can see how far down into the water that fence goes, where normally it went right to the edge of the pond. Things are full, is the bottom line. Here's a view down the big drainage canal behind our subdivision. And you can see how little border there is left up to those fence lines. There's usually, over here, there's a border there where trucks can drive, a flat. So the bank comes up, then there's a flat, and then it comes up a little more. Well, the flat part where the trucks can go is completely full of water. This has gotten pretty deep over here. I'm not going to go through this because I can't see the end of it. I don't know how bad it gets up there. But you can see this gets pretty full up here. So I am going to turn around, go out to the subdivision where I know I can get through without a problem. So we'll go over here. It was really cool on the news. I was so impressed with our Coast Guard. They said, Michael was telling me actually, that the Coast Guard reported that they flyable equipment, airplanes, helicopters, half of the Coast Guard's helicopter, Border Patrol, and is doing rescues in the area. Hours ago, because this was full all the way to the end last time. So we'll see if we can get up to the stoplight and go to the next big drainage ditch. You can see it over there on the side, but when we get up here, if we can, I'm not going through any deep water, so we'll see if it works or not. If we can go through here, we'll go over there and get a view from the bridge. But this is what was crazy to me last time. The water on the bridge, the water is now all the way up to the bridge. It's hitting the bottom of the bridge over there. You can see the water's hitting the concrete. So we're gonna take a look. If this gets steep, I may have to back up, but we're gonna check. Just gonna go really slow, barely move. My rocker panel check here. I keep saying rocker panel. So far we got plenty of clearance and we're about to start going back up here in just a moment. We're fine. Yeah, got about 2 inches of clearance on the rocker panels there, so I'm feeling in pretty good shape. And now we're climbing back up. Here's my door. And I got a green light. Look at that. Timed it perfectly. So this is the big drainage that runs all the way through a lot of Silverlake from east to west, and it is just amazing to me how deep this thing is. It's over the bank. I don't know if you can see it with all the rain on this. I'll get it on the way out. Let me look this way where I roll the window down. You can see, so that goes way east toward Pearland right there. And you can see how far that goes and how deep that is. It's just incredible. This is flooded up here, and I don't want to go through that. Do a turn around here. Oh, that was, okay, it's not flooded bad at all. Take a look here. It's just right up to the bottom of the bridge. Pretty impressive. Here's what it looks like. If you look at the banks down there, it's all the way up over the sidewalks from literally from the ditch, which is, I don't know, 8-10 feet deep or something. And you can see it's come all the way up over the banks, is coming up to the sidewalks. If it gets much deeper at all, it is going to be up over South Fork here. So this is South Fork and Morgan Road right here. All right. So we're gonna go this way. Oh, look at this guy. He's doing the plow through it mode. Seems like a really good way to drown your engine. This thing, look at all that water. And it's still raining. It goes down there, just full. Everything's full. End of our, the east end of our subdivision. This way. Take a look at this thing, which is amazing. See here how incredibly full it is. I say that on every one of them, sorry. Very repetitive, but it just is, and it's quite amazing. Because I have pictures and videos of these from before it started, and they're just, it's so different. It's amazing. And then this has this little berm. Then there's a second drainage right beside it, right there. That unfortunately is lower, so the big drainage is working. Going down here. This is that field Michael was reporting from yesterday, just full. All down in here. Sadly looks like it's got water or very close to having water. So much water along here. So this is one of the old roads, the way they used to build them all. In fact, 518 through Pearland used to be this way, where it's raised way up. And that's great for the road. It keeps the road clear at all times. But it tends to flood the houses because the water can't flow along the natural land contours, which are very, very light around here, right? Across the roads, because the roads make basically great big dams. And so they used to make all the roads this way around here. When we first moved to Pearland 30 years ago, this is the way they were. And so this is what happens. It floods the houses and the businesses. And what they're doing now on almost all the new roads, and they've converted a lot of the old roads, now all the roads are lowered. And so your houses and businesses stay dry, but your roads do flood and get blocked off, which obviously I think most of us would think is better. Boy, there's one that looks like they got water inside. So sad. So much. Okay, so now I'm at Bailey Road and Kennedy. Right up there ahead is Bailey, and yeah, we get back toward Morgan Road, but I'm going to go ahead and turn around. I don't want to be out too much since it's still raining. It's still rising. get this, even though it's the least of anybody's worries with so many houses flooding. But these poor folks here, you can see this road is just completely under. And there's their boat on its trailer, and what was a really nice looking Corvette, now submarining, trying to be a boat. I gotta move, there's a very large truck behind me. You know, most of these folks with these great big road trucks, I'm not a fan of them. Great big huge lifted up trucks, but I gotta say, there's a lot of people with these big high trucks who are driving around helping folks, towing them out, rescuing them from flooded houses, pulling cars that are flooded out. You know, they're doing it, they're using their trucks, and it's a good deal. Is dry, that's good. Folks that live on these lower streets here have brought their cars up to the church parking lot. It's a little bit higher. So if they get trapped, they can walk out to their cars, even if their street is flooded later. The big drainage retention on the south end of our subdivision. Still got some capacity, but it's not a lot. So we hope this rain, I think the last I heard right before I left was we're still supposed to get some tonight, but hopefully nothing like the last couple nights, and then hopefully we get a reprieve after that. That'll be welcomed. go up and take a look at our old neighborhood where we lived before this house. And get myself back home. So far, we've had power throughout the whole thing. Our power's blipped a few times, probably 4 or 5 times, but it's always come right back on. I mean, immediately. So we have been extremely blessed. And even our internet, I dual internet in the house. One provider, it's gotten really, really slow. Don't know why. But it's one that we've had problems before when we got a lot of rain. So I think there's a wiring problem underground, but our secondary internet provider is just fine. No problems at all. And power has stayed on throughout. And with so many of our friends, it's been so sad, have had just the opposite. We have friends with 3 and 4 feet of water in their houses. There's people who have, we're literally, we know 2 families from our church that were evacuated by boat. It was so bad. One of them in the middle of the night, and in fact, at least one of them, they got taken to a shelter and they're trapped there because we thought about going and getting her and see if she wanted to come stay with us in the spare room, but you can't even get to the shelter with a vehicle. So you can see, I'm not going to go there. As you can see, it's deep. Oh, and it looks like somebody stalled there. Oh no. This is if we were to go down there, that would get us to our old house. And it appears somebody's little Buick SUV flooded out right there in that corner, in that intersection. The intersection's the deep part. I know this part here stays mild, so I'm going to go in through this way. Certainly not try that. So right here, yeah, I think I'm going to stop here. I don't think I'm going to go through this. This looks like it, well, I can see the end, but water, water, water. Let's see how far we can go up this. Guy playing with his puppy out here in the water. Cute. Wow. Yeah, I still got clearance to my rocker panels, but it does look deep heading out that way. That next intersection and then the one to the left of it are the ones that get really bad in this part of the neighborhood, so I'm certainly not going to go there. And I'm not even going to go here. I'm going to put it back up. I see no reason to push it. The other thing is, when it starts getting up on the driveways, even if you're okay going through in the middle, you create this weight, which right now isn't going to get to anybody's house or car, but at some point becomes a problem. We've seen, I think Michael saw a couple people who put up cones themselves just to keep the big trucks from coming down their street and creating wakes when the water got up close to the house. And by the way, I know I'm stating a lot of the obvious for all you people that are here in the middle of this and in Houston, and you know all this from other floods. I've had other people, family from around the country, ask questions about some of this, so that's why I'm saying some things that probably seem obvious to people here in Houston. Last night, or no, Sunday morning when we did this, we went up here, up Cullen, all the way up to FM 518, which is the main drag through Pearland. We took a look up there, but Michael went out earlier and tells me that it's now blocked just north of here, so you literally can't get there from here anymore. So at this point, we can only go about a half a mile. There may be somewhere in the subdivision where you could go a mile, but we can only get a half mile to a mile from our house in pretty much any direction before you start hitting places that are not passable. So again, good news being it sounds like after tonight's rain that we'll get a reprieve tomorrow and things will start draining off and drying out. Thank God for that. The other big retention pond lake on the north side of our subdivision. And this is the front view of what I was talking about with the what used to be a waterfall. Here, I'll loop around where we can see it. And I'm going to wrap this one up. So the upper pond with the fountain is still running. You can see the rock border. It's still within its normal bank, so that's awesome. But it's hard to see. Right there, those little rocks sticking up. Normally there are rocks going all the way across. There's one right there in the middle. There's one you can see through those tree branches, and then it goes all the way over and it connects to those rocks. So normally that whole expanse right there is a 4-foot tall waterfall down to the lower pond. And like I said earlier, it's totally connected all the way across. It's all one level now, which is pretty amazing to me. I guess after the storm I'm going to have to, when everything goes back down, go measure how tall these things really are to see if I'm right about how high these things are, how deep they are, I guess. house. Fortunately, we're sitting high and as dry as can be anyway. You can see we just got a little bit of water in this corner. 4 inches or something, maybe. Probably not even that much. So, I don't think this whole time I've gotten a view of the front of our house. So we'll do that. And there we are. Nice and dry.